The exact same hormone that's giving some men a full, thick beard right now is, at this very moment, killing the hair follicles on their scalp. Same hormone, same body, opposite result depending on which few inches of skin it's acting on. That's not a coincidence, and it's not bad luck. It's one molecule doing two completely contradictory things. And for a long time, nobody could explain why evolution would design something so self-defeating. Let's start with the mechanism, because once you see it, the contradiction becomes impossible to ignore. Testosterone gets converted by an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase into a more potent form called DHT, dihydrotestosterone. DHT is powerful stuff. It's what deepens the voice, builds muscle mass, and yes, it's what gives facial hair follicles the signal to grow thicker and darker during puberty. On the jaw and chin, DHT is basically a growth switch. But go a few inches up to the scalp, and DHT does the opposite. It binds to receptors in scalp follicles and slowly shrinks them, cycle after cycle, until some follicles stop producing visible hair at all. This is androgenetic alopecia, and it affects roughly 80% of European men at some point in their lives. That's not a rare condition. That's closer to the default outcome for a huge portion of the male population. So here's the actual question. Why would the human body build one hormone that simultaneously grows hair in one location and destroys it in another? That's not efficient. That's not clean design. If anything, it looks like a mistake. For a long time, that's basically what scientists assumed it was. A side effect. Noise. Something evolution just never bothered to fix because it didn't matter enough. But in 1996, researchers Frank Muscarella and Michael Cunningham published a study in the journal Ethology and Sociobiology that offered a different explanation. And it wasn't about biology malfunctioning. It was about signaling. They found that people consistently rate balding men as appearing more mature, more socially dominant in a non-threatening way, and specifically, wiser. Not aggressive dominant like a young, thick-bearded male might read. A calmer, more elder kind of authority. Which means baldness might be doing something eerily similar to what the beard does. Both are driven by the same hormone. Both broadcast information about a man before he says a single word. The beard says virility, aggression readiness, youth at peak hormonal output. Baldness, on this theory, said something else entirely. This is a man who has lived, who has status already, who doesn't need to prove anything with force. In small ancestral groups, where you had to size up every man you met almost instantly, that's not a small advantage. That's a shortcut past years of getting to know someone. Now, more recent research adds a genuinely strange twist to this. A massive genetic study analyzing over 200,000 men through the UK Biobank found that male pattern baldness isn't just cosmetic. It's tangled up, genetically, with a whole cluster of other traits, including earlier puberty, bone density, and markers linked to fertility. In other words, the same genetic machinery that's thinning your hairline appears to be connected to signals of reproductive maturity elsewhere in the body. Which means baldness might not just be a passive side effect riding along with high DHT. It could be an honest signal in the biological sense, a trait that's hard to fake, because faking it would require faking the underlying hormonal reality too. I'll be straight with you though, because this field is genuinely still unsettled. Other researchers point out that baldness also correlates with real health risks. Elevated odds of prostate complications, cardiovascular strain, and some neurodegenerative conditions show up more often in men with early onset baldness. So if this was pure sexual selection working in a man's favor, it's dragging some ugly baggage along with it. Evolution doesn't optimize for a clean story. It just keeps whatever spreads, side effects included. So the next time you see a man losing his hair while somehow growing an unstoppable beard at the same time, you're not looking at some cruel biological joke. You're looking at a single hormone doing exactly what it's always done, broadcasting two different messages from two different parts of the same face, whether the man wearing it realizes it or not. You don't get a vote in which signal your body sends first.